Welcome back to Cobble Chaos. So tonight, it's a little bit late. I found myself sinking into the couch after work, but I figured I better get up and get something done. So tonight, we are going to tackle this lower rocker. I doubt I'll get it done tonight, but at least if I can get a piece kind of cut out, fit, and roughed in, then yeah, it'll be a little more progress than me sitting on the couch. So let's take a look at what we got here. Alright, besides the obvious, this entire area, but if you follow this whole thing across, there's a pinhole there, there's a bunch of little pinholes up here, I don't know if you can see those, but this whole thing's going to be thin, so I'm going to go ahead and probably cut this entire piece. I'll probably cut it just below this body line right here, and then yeah, maybe I can use that as my kind of my weld seam area. But yeah, all this has got to go. I'll probably wrap it around, form this inner lip and everything. And then yeah, while I'm in here, I may pull off the tire and give myself a little more room too. But and then, I don't know, once I get in here, I may be able to get up. I got to get this ground out, get these holes opened up, and maybe work this little dent a little bit more and try and get that out a little bit better. Because yeah, it kind of flattens out here, and I want this panel to pretty much be where it needs to be before I weld in metal here, because if that's warped and then this ends up being welded in, and that's going to be harder to fix. So it all kind of goes hand in hand. So but yeah, let's kind of get an idea where to start here. So I dug around in my scrap, and I got a, I don't know, it's probably 4 or 5 foot long chunk of sheet metal. This end's got a little bit of damage on it, but I think there's enough there to do both sides of this car. So yeah, I should be able to get both panels out of that with a little bit of extra to work with. So I think I'm going to use this thing. Well, I cut this piece out. It ended up using more of that stick of sheet metal I needed, and I looked on the other side to see if I needed a full length, and the other side looks way worse than this side, so that's going to be a whole different item. So anyway, I cut this sheet metal out to the full length of this lower quarter, and so then this is a kind of, it's a radiused brake, but it's not quite a 90. It's probably like a, oh, I don't know, probably 60, 70 degree brake, somewhere in there. But I'm going to go ahead and measure it and mark it on here and get that one, since it's a little harder brake, I'm going to get that done first. And then this through here has a radius that I'm probably just going to bend over a piece of tubing or something, or my knee or whatever, and just kind of get this thing roughed out. I don't like to cut any of this out. I basically will make a pattern and, you know, get it to where it overlays this and fits really nice on here, and then cut it out and then do my fine tuning, like right in here where it's got a, it flares out to go into the fender lip, and I can fine tune that stuff later. So but for now, I just want to get it to where it like overlays this and pretty much fits right up to this. This is the passenger quarter, and I'm kind of dreading this one. It's all rusted all the way up into the top of this, above the body line. The driver's side's only this part down. This is all packed full of Bondo. I mean, you can feel it's wavy and lumpy, and I know it's thick. And I think this is probably going to be at least a ½ inch or better thick through here from kind of what I'm seeing. It's all the way back, bubbling back here, cracking right there. So this quarter may be a little more challenging than the other side. That's how I'm doing this. As you can see, that's nothing fancy, but it's going to get the job done. So I got what appears to be close to what I need for a bend, so I'm going to hold this thing up here and see how it fits. We might have to tweak it a little bit, but yeah, let's check it out. Alright, let's see how this thing fits up here. I haven't tested it yet, so I just kind of want to see. Oh, we are... Actually, I would about almost call that good. So once I get this curve in here. Yeah, and it'll flare and come up, but actually it's tight all along the bottom here, so I can't believe I just nailed that in the first hit. But I mean, it may need a little fine tuning when I put this little curve through here, but yeah, the old board and square tube got the job done. So this radius is coming up, and I mean, it's technically starting right, I don't know, that's maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches, and it's just this little bit right in here that's curving up. So I went ahead and I transferred this body line from there to in my bend, and I mean, it tapers and gets smaller as you go. So I transferred that taper onto here, and that's going to give me a place that I know I'm going to put the radius. And I just dug up this piece of tubing. Seems like it's about the right radius. It's just some exhaust, I don't know, 2.5 inch exhaust or something. But that should give me a gradual kind of radius. Again, I'll have to kind of pound and form it in, but I think it's going to do the trick. But this line will kind of give me an area to guide that tube and kind of a reference point as to where my bend is going to be. So yeah, let's try this out. Hopefully we don't waste a piece of sheet metal. So I went ahead, and the way this bend is going to go, this line, I need it to bend, it's going to bend this way. So having my body line on the outside here, I can't see to lay it on top of something and beat it around. So I went ahead and I marked it out on the back side. And then I measured down just roughly from this body line about where that radius is going to start. And it looks like it's right around 1.5 inches. So I measured down, and I went down 1.5 inches. And on this exhaust tubing, I don't know, I've done this a few times, and again, this isn't exactly the right way. This is how I'm doing it in my shop at home. This is my car. You know, I'll be happy with it when I'm done. So, but yeah, what's kind of cool is this. If I line that up, there's a seam in this tubing. I can line that line and that line on there, and that should about put my radius, when I fold it around this tubing, just about perfect to where it goes to that top line. And it should mimic what this car has. I mean, it's not much of a radius, so I'm just barely going to put a little curve to that. So let's try this out. All right, I'm kind of lined up on here. The biggest thing is probably keeping this pipe from moving around. I'm going to put my knee on it. I say there's really not much fancy tools going on here. And I'm just going to start, actually, I'll put this board on too, just to kind of, I want to be able to see my line. Yeah, that's it. All right, well, we're going to wing it. So sometimes you just go for it. So, see if this will work. That ain't going to work. So I'm just pushing this and moving it around this piece of pipe to just give it a little bit of a curve. And I can kind of roll this pipe. It's kind of cool. You can roll back and forth and kind of just get it to where you work it right up to that seam. And hopefully we'll get the right curve out of this. And it kind of fades out towards the back, so yeah. Alrighty, so that is the product. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, we got a little curve in there. I don't know if it's the right one yet, but we're definitely getting closer. But this will sit in the car kind of at a little angle like that, and then naturally this is going to get cut off here. So let's see how this fits. All right, I doubt I could nail this in the first shot, but let's see. I know she seats in there. we're actually really close. So what's going on now is where this flares out right here, it's holding this out, but it's, you know, when I hold it up there, okay, so we gotta, okay, it's hanging out just a little bit too far, so I can push this back in, and we'll get that lip, and then I'll end up having to flare this in to get it into that fender. But we are getting amazingly close, and this is actually going way quicker than I thought it would. And it still smells like gas in here, but I haven't burned yet, so that's a win. So we're making progress tonight. So I just got it on the floor here. I'm just gonna push it a little bit and just relax that little bit of curve out of it, just a touch. And again, I mean, yeah, this is not how most shops do it or whatever, but this is your at-home Monday night, I should be doing something project. So, but we're getting close, and this thing, it's all scrap metal, hasn't cost me a dime. Welded up, put a little mud on it, she'll be good as new. So, yeah, let's try this fit now. Alright, we are super close to that. I gotta bring that front up just a tiny bit more. But we're getting there. I'm just gonna push that out a little bit more. There we go. I think that's definitely workable. So now I just got to get this front little lip in there. And then once I start trimming and cutting, I can kind of fine tune and get it under this body lip here to where it can weld in there and blend in with that. But yeah, super close for just beating over wood and knees and pipe and whatever else you got laying around. So, yeah, I think that's probably it for tonight. I'm going to probably call it a day. I got to get up at 3 in the morning, so that sucks. But tomorrow, this shouldn't take nothing to whip this little end out and actually have this thing pretty close to being ready to cut this panel out and make her look like new again. So stay tuned. We'll be back tomorrow. Well, that's not too bad for an evening worth of work. I've only been out here about an hour. So it's little things like this, though, that'll get your project done. I mean, it's just, a lot of people think like, oh, I don't have all the time. I work late. I do this or that. But I built a lower quarter panel in like an hour, you know, and it's like, it's beat over wood and whatever else. But it's almost done, and you know, and it's more than I'd have done sitting on the couch. So a lot of times people have time to do this stuff, they just don't make the time to do it. So I say an hour here and there, it gets it done, and your car will be driving sooner than if you sit on your butt. So I don't know, that's just my way of doing things. I try and nip things a little here and there, and as you can tell, I bounce around all over, but sometimes I'm feeling something and sometimes I'm not. You know, tonight I really wasn't feeling this, but as quick as this one hammered out, yeah, I'm glad I did come out here, because I was about, well, between wandering around trying to figure out what this rotten gasoline smell is in here and having the slows after work, yeah, it's actually a very good night. So yeah, again, thanks for watching, liking, commenting, everything. We're going to keep going on this thing, and one of these days we're going to drive it.